Good evening, and welcome to Arundel Community College's 56th annual commencement in celebration of our graduating students. Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Arundel Community College Color Guard and remain standing to join in the singing of the national anthem.
Please join in singing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you to the Color Guard. It is a pleasure to introduce to you the president of Arundel Community College, Dr. Dawn Lindsay, who will provide words of welcome and appreciation and will introduce our special guests.
Please be seated. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Arundel Community College, our community's college. It is wonderful to have all of you here with us this evening to celebrate our students, the class of 2018, and their impressive success. I want to begin by recognizing the contributions of everyone who has worked so hard to put this celebration together. Last week, we had a team of experts tracking the weather and making plans to move graduation indoors. Then on Monday, we made the decision to use our turf field as it appeared that the weather was going to cooperate. We still couldn't resurrect our tent for safety concerns, but actually I have to think this is a whole lot nicer. It's beautiful out here this evening. A special thanks to everyone involved because it really did take a village. I'd like to thank our administrative services staff for their assistance in preparing the ceremony, to learner support staff for their superb efforts, to dining services for their delicious contributions, and to the commencement committee members and all of the volunteers for their dedication to making this evening's event a huge success for our graduates and their family and friends. We deeply appreciate everyone's hard work and dedication to celebrating our students and their success. Thank you, class of 2018, for trusting your educational experience to Anne Arundel Community College and selecting our college as your college of choice to begin or revisit your educational journey. Tonight, we're celebrating you. Each of you came to Anne Arundel Community College with a dream. You dedicated yourself to achieving that dream. You challenged yourself, you persisted, and you attained. At Anne Arundel Community College, we believe a critical component to your success is something we take great pride in: hiring exceptional faculty and staff who are experts in their respective disciplines. In addition to their professional expertise, they evidence the values of our college. I would like to acknowledge the faculty and staff who, no matter what they are doing, what role they play here at the college, take the time to get to know our students. Professors who reach out when a student misses a class. Faculty and staff who ask our students, what's going on in your life? Anything we can help you with? Or notice when a student is struggling, or sometimes provide words of encouragement or simply a smile. At Anne Arundel Community College, persistence and completion are clearly the work of everyone. Our employees have the ability and willingness to reach out to positively impact the lives of our students. If you are an employee, faculty member, staff of Anne Arundel Community College, please stand so we can acknowledge and thank you for your commitment to our students. If our faculty and staff could please stand. Thank you. In addition, I would be remiss if I did not thank the members of our Board of Trustees, whom I will introduce shortly, for their time and commitment that they give to Anne Arundel Community College in their role with policy and fiscal accountability. There are many benefits you have attained as you have progressed through your coursework. Tonight, we are celebrating the culmination of your experience. So let me acknowledge some of the benefits and how they have prepared you for your future. Your college experience has exposed you to different types of curriculum, providing differing perspectives and approaches. Your academic experience includes learning how to look at issues critically, to gain the ability to engage in analytical debate, to be exposed to diverse points of view, thoughts, and ideas that at times may have made you a bit uncomfortable. You have learned the value of characteristics such as honesty and teamwork, having a strong work ethic, being flexible, dependable, and responsible, developing your interpersonal skills, and taking initiative. All of these are attributes that might not be listed on a class syllabus, but they are clearly part of what you have experienced and learned at Anne Arundel Community College. As you prepare to walk across the stage tonight, know that you leave here with a strong skill set and a strong knowledge base, not only in your academic area, but in the attributes I just shared. You are more prepared to be successful in both your professional and your personal lives. And don't forget, now that you join the ranks of alumni and lifelong learning, we so hope to see you back at our college in the future to continue your learning and growth. We will always be here for you. I would now like to introduce our platform guest, and I'm going to ask everybody to please hold their applause until I've completed 3 rows of introductions. So as I announce the guest, if you could please stand, and our VIPs on stage. I'm going to go from the audience's right to left. Professor Patricia Gregory, Computer Science, our Faculty Grand Marshal. Elizabeth H. Apple, Dean of Health Sciences. Dr. Lance D. Bowen, Dean, School of Science and Technology. Dr. Tiffany Boykin, Dean, Student Engagement. Karen L. Cook, Esquire, Dean, School of Business and Law. Dr. Faith Harlan White, Associate Vice President, Continuing Education and Workforce Development and Learning Operations. Dr. Alicia A. Marshall, Associate Vice President, Learning Academic Affairs. Dr. Alicia M. Morris, Dean, School of Liberal Arts. Nancy Byer, our Registrar. Starting in our second row, Dr. Rika Fine, Dean, Planning, Research and Institutional Assessment. Dr. Colleen Eisenbeiser, Dean, Learning Advancement and Virtual Campus. Deneen R. Dangerfield, Dean of College Transitions. Dr. Deidre Denny, our Chief Diversity Officer. Jonathan O'Day, President of our Student Government Association. Naya M. Curtis, Student Member of our Board of Trustees. Aluma Ade Faboyagun, our Valedictorian. Dr. Felicia Patterson, Vice President, Learner Support Services. Melissa Beardmore, Vice President, Learning Resources Management. And Colonel Thomas Rickert, Garrison Commander, Fort George G. Meade. And in our first row, Reverend Dr. Diane Dixon Proctor, Board of Trustees. Lawrence W. Uvula, Jr., Chair, Board of our Trustees. Our commencement speaker, Dr. Susan A. Cohen, Professor of English and Coordinator of Creative Writing and winner of the 2018 Full-Time Teaching Excellence Award. Dr. Michael H. Gavin, Vice President of Learning. Walter J. Hall, Board of Trustees. The Honorable Stephen R. Shue, Anne Arundel County Executive. Dr. James Johnson, Jr., Board of Trustees. Paul J. Dara, Board of Trustees. If you could now please join me. Pardon? Oh, Sandy. I'm sorry, and Sandy Moore. How did I miss you? She's also on our Board of Trustees. I apologize, Sandy. Anyway, please join me in thanking. Our platform guests can now be seated. In the audience with us, I'm going to list a couple more people that are with us this evening. The Honorable Ronald Bateman, Anne Arundel County Sheriff. Patricia Casey Whiteman, Associate Vice President for Learning Emeritus. If you all could stand. Dr. Richard Faircloth, Professor Emeritus, Biology and Anne Arundel Community College Foundation Board Member. Dr. Charles Jolly Davis, Professor Emeritus, Mathematics. Dr. Joseph Lamp, Professor Emeritus, Communications. Jacob Smith, incoming President of the Student Government Association. Caleb Schaefer, incoming student member of the Board of Trustees. Thank you all for your support of Anne Arundel Community College. So, as we're moving closer to the time you've been waiting for, I would like our audience to know a little bit more about the diversity of our students. Students, this is almost going to be your last official task, but I'm going to have one more after this. So this is your second to last. I would like all of our students who are 25 or older to please stand. 25 or older. So now, if you're 35 or older, remain standing. And I'm going to make a jump on this one. If you're 55 or older, please remain standing. Thank you to that group of students. You may now be seated. Students who are in the military, past or present, please stand so we can thank you for your service. Thank you. Students who came to Anne Arundel directly from high school, please stand. Thank you. Students who are first-generation college students in their family, please stand. First generation. Thank you. I'm going to take a little risk on this one because I'm not really sure that we have this, but I'm going to ask anyway because we usually do. Do we have a parent and child graduating tonight? A parent? I knew it. Congratulations. Students who are working a full-time job while attaining your educational goal. You're working full-time and attending school. Please stand. Okay, full-timers, you can sit down. How about our students who are working one part-time job and attending college? Thank you. Now, students who are working two part-time jobs or more and attending college. Thank you. Students who are attaining a bachelor's degree, please stand. Thank you. Students who are currently looking for employment, please stand. Now stay standing because I know we've got employers in this group, and I just want to make the connection between our students that are looking for work and you all looking for employees. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge the many people that accompany our graduates on this journey. So I'm going to ask the parents and the grandparents of graduates to stand, and please stay standing. Parents and grandparents, please stay standing. Husbands, wives, friends, partners, significant others of our graduates, please stand. Everybody's... The sons and daughters, grandsons, granddaughters of our graduates, please stand. Nieces, nephews, aunts, and uncles of our graduates, please stand. And friends of our graduates, please stand. At this point, that whole back row, you all should all be standing. Now, graduates, I'm going to ask you to do something. I want you to stand up, turn around, and give a round of applause to the people that have helped you get here. Thank you. Everybody can be seated now. I'm now pleased to introduce Jonathan O'Day, President of Anne Arundel Community College Student Government Association, who will address the graduates. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan.
Get myself in order here. Good evening. This week I've been going back and forth with... Microphones don't like me.
Just keep talking to me, Jonathan. It's working out.
Let me hold your water. Let me know if you need it.
Okay, thank you. This week I've been going back and forth with the message that I wanted to give to you tonight, and just how to start that message off. And so I decided I'm just going to start with telling you kind of a little bit about my story. And so in January of 2015, I experienced a change that would drastically shape the rest of my life. This change was that I was going from public school in the junior year of high school to online homeschool. In a single motion, kind of my entire foundation that I had set out shook. Okay. Is that better? Okay. My entire foundation shook as over the next few days and weeks, I realized just how much my life had changed. I lost my entire social support system outside of my family. The only real connections that I had at that time were formed out of the job that I had. And these were people that they were coming and they were going, and it was people that I didn't really have that great of a connection with, so it wasn't much of that foundation that I needed. And so over this summer, we decided that I would start here at Anne Arundel Community College as a high school senior. So in August, I began classes, and I immediately immersed myself here, despite how nervous I was and despite how kind of isolated I felt. And so I started classes, and I immediately got involved, and so I attended all of our Welcome Week events that year, and I got involved with the Gay Straight Alliance, And so these two things, they would be bigger than I would realize. They would help me grow way more than I would realize. They were just small steps, but they had large impacts. And so as I continued at the college, I got more and more involved, and I eventually joined the Student Government Association and became president last year. And it's incredible because now here I am standing at graduation, speaking to all of you and getting ready onto the road to Towson University, and it's unbelievable. And so I told you my story not to go on about myself, but instead to show a few things in my life. So first, it's that we all need to embrace change. There are two kinds of change in life, and that which is inevitable and that which we create. Inevitable changes are obviously the things we cannot control, and rather than fight against them, we need to embrace them and make the best of it and just work on it. But the things we can do, the change we can create, we need to make the most of that in ourselves. I started here at AACC as a cybersecurity student, thinking that my life was going to be consumed by working on computers, but I became miserable at one point. And it was at that point that I realized I had two options. I had go on with that major or change my major and follow something I was passionate about, find my passion. The second path, it was scary, it was uncertain, and it was unplanned. But I went with it anyway. I pushed through that barrier, and I embraced the change, and I created the change. And I have no regrets. And it made me realize that over the years, trying to make the best of change. I was trying to change the things I couldn't change, and I was leaving alone the change I could make. And it made me realize that change is good and change is necessary, and we just need to embrace it and make change where we see that it needs to be. And so the second thing that I want to touch on is getting involved and creating connections. During my time here, I have spent countless hours with our student organizations, whether it's during meetings or getting ready for events or just having fun, and this has made my time here thoroughly enjoyable. It was a journey that I took an active part in, and I shaped it to fit with what I enjoyed and got involved with people of like minds and like situations who knew what I was going through, and they were there to talk and to get along with. On top of that, I created connections with people all over, including students, faculty, and staff. These are connections that can last a lifetime and can do nothing but help throughout life. And it's so important that we take the time in our days to get involved and get connected no matter where we are, whether it be at work or in school or in your community. The connections you make matter and will be another thing that will shape your life forever. Through the connections that you make, you can grow while at the same time helping someone else grow. And not to mention the incredible impacts that these connections can have on you later. These could be the people who help you find your passion or land your dream job or helps pick you up when you're down. If you told 16-year-old me that I'd be standing up here today talking to you, I think you're crazy. I wouldn't believe you. I wouldn't believe any of it. At that point, life was dark for me, but I kept working through. I kept pushing through, and I refused to stop. Even when I got to AACC and I was so nervous, I refused to stop. And I jumped in, and I immersed myself in the culture here, and I got involved. And now, here I am, speaking to all of you, getting ready to graduate, and I found my passion. I got re-immersed in my faith, which I hadn't had in years, and I found it again. And now I have the confidence to pursue what I want most in life. And none of this would have been possible if I didn't take those first few steps, make the necessary changes, and get involved and make those connections. So the advice that I want to give you today is to embrace the change, get involved, and make those connections. In other words, be the best you that you can be and make your life yours. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2018.
It is now my pleasure and privilege to present Larry W. Uvula, the Chair of our Board of Trustees, who will announce our student honors and awards.
Thank you, Dawn. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the graduating class and honored guests, it's my pleasure to announce honors and awards for the graduating class of 2018. First, I would like to recognize 12 student marshals who have attained high academic honors, and I'd like you to please stand and be recognized, but if you could just remain standing until we get to all 12 names. Logan Ray Barker, Kelsey N. Boniforden, Sarah L. Crittenden, Maura L. DePascal, Rochelle E. Rosso, Matthew Fenimore Hayworth, Elisa Joy Lebo, Takesha Danielle Parker, Michael E. Santos Jr., Sky Ashley Smith, Rainey Sosi, and Anna Lynn Waco. Please applaud these students. Thank you. I'm also pleased to announce, and here I'm going to depart a little from script, I have an AA degree. Great. 194 associate degree recipients have received a grade point average of 3.4 through 3.59 and are being graduated cum laude. There are 176 associate degree recipients that have achieved a grade point average of 3.6 through 3.79 and are being graduated magna cum laude. And get this, 190 associate degree recipients have achieved a grade point average of 3.8 through 4.0 and are being graduated summa cum laude. Congratulations. It's really wild statistics. Each year, the Presidential Scholar Award goes to the student who graduates with the academic excellence in traditional two-year time frame. I'm pleased to introduce this year's recipient, Micah Moten, who is graduating with a 4.0. That'd be pretty impressive. But 4.0 is definitely impressive, grade point average, and is receiving an Associate of Science degree in engineering transfer. Micah, will you please come forward to receive your award? Congratulations, Micah. We're proud of you and your accomplishments. And now Vice President Patterson will now introduce the valedictorian.
Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2018, Olumide Faboyegun, who earned a 4.0 academic average. Olumide is graduating with an Associate of Arts degree in Transfer Studies. He has demonstrated a consistent record of academic excellence, coupled with a strong love for learning and a passion for education. Olumide exudes enthusiasm for his future educational plans, which include pursuing biochemistry as a pre-med student at UMBC. Olumide will now give his valedictory address. Olumide, will you please come forward? Please join me in welcoming him.
Forgive the look of the cap on my head. My hair is a bit of a fighter. President Lindsay, members of the AACC Board of Trustees, faculty members, proud parents, and everyone who has come here to celebrate all of us tonight. And to those who this night is all about, graduates of the AACC class of 2018, good evening. I tried to find a fitting descriptor for myself, and all I could really find was the phrase, plans fall apart when they simply were not meant to be. And I suspect most of us resonate with that statement. We make plans, and they fall apart. I was raised in Nigeria until I was 15, when I moved to the US to continue my education. Moving to the US was never my intention. After all, it was half a world away. I had this vision in my mind of moving to England and going to Cambridge or Oxford or some other well-known English university. Yet before that journey really began, the plans fell through. And then I came to the US, spent 2 years in high school, and again, my plan was to go directly to a four-year university, and I had my eyes set on the University of Wisconsin-Madison, thinking, yes, I finally get to leave Maryland. And again, plans imploded. As a result, I'm now in a position where I get to speak to you all as valedictorian, heading to UMBC in the fall as a pre-med student and with a neuroscience research fellowship at the University of Minnesota over the summer. I like to think that even after all of that, this result was a very favorable one. This implosion of plans seems to be a cycle that continues ad infinitum for a lot of us. And yet we rarely ever stop to consider the position that all those failures and repetitions put us in. We rarely ever deign to see the wisdom that lies within that insecurity. Because here's the deal. All those choices, challenges, trials, and tribulations led us here. All those choices led us here. Because class of 2018, this is where we were meant to be. We are a collection of complex people from all backgrounds who have brought with us unique ideas, beliefs, and personalities. Sometimes knowingly, but often unknowingly enriching the community we find ourselves in. And I have no doubt that we will continue to do so well into the future. It would be an understatement to say that AACC has not had a profound impact on my outlook on life, on my ideology, and on both my professional and personal lives. And I suspect you all feel similarly. For the past year, I served as a supplemental instructor for first General Chemistry 1 and then 2, an opportunity to which I was introduced by one of my favorite professors in my time here at AACC, Dr. Miller. One of those professors who was so comfortable with the material, you just can't help but be comfortable with it too. It gave me the opportunity to work with an astonishingly hilarious individual who goes by the name Mr. Barada, though he prefers we call him Jose. Supplemental instruction enabled me to work with a host of amazing people who I have no doubt thrive in any setting they find themselves in, and allowed me to see that wonderful moment explaining a concept where you literally see the gears snap together in a student's mind. Their eyes light up and they go, oh, I get it. At least I hope that's what I see and I'm not just some madman screaming at formulas on the board. There's a certain humility that these experiences bring with them. The realization that you are part of a community, that you belong, and that you have an opportunity to shine and be the most resplendent you that you could possibly be. In all our little groups, we form microcosms of AACC, representative of the unity the larger community embodies. I like to think that up until a certain part of life, we walk on a level road. A few bumps here and there, crossroads and winding paths, but ultimately a level road. And eventually we reach the base of a mountain, the behemoth that represents our goals and aspirations. Many shy away, terrified of the task before them. And I'm glad to say that we, the class of 2018, are not those people. We scale that mountain, and now we say to ourselves, where's the next one? There's this phenomenon known as imposter syndrome. It entails believing that your situation is a result of pure chance, that you're a fraud or that your accomplishments have all been flukes. But that simply isn't true. You were able to get where you are through grit, determination, and a whole lot of sleepless nights. And so I say this with confidence. Class of 2018, we are not imposters. We are a combination of our experiences and interactions, and those experiences are what make us who we are. Those experiences brought us here. And there's a quote from Dr. Seuss that I think embodies that fact. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Though in all seriousness, today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you. And now the sun sets on a day of success, of triumph, of victory. It sets on a battle won, a war won, a purpose fulfilled. Now some may ask, what next? And I suspect you'll find that answer is closer than you previously thought. We have started a journey that only leads upwards so long as we focus our gazes on each of our respective mountains, because we're shooting for the top of the world, and nothing's going to stop us. Congratulations to the class of 2018.
Congratulations, Illumide. We are very, very proud of you and all of our graduates. We know that there's a bright and promising future ahead for you and the other members of the class of 2018, and tonight is just the beginning. Congratulations.
We are so pleased to have outstanding faculty at Anne Arundel Community College. And we have a faculty member with us this evening to address the class of 2018. Our commencement speaker is Dr. Susan Cohen, Professor of English and Coordinator of Creative Writing. Dr. Cohen was chosen by our students as the recipient of the 2018 Full-Time Teaching Excellence Award. This award gives our students the opportunity to recognize faculty in whom they perceive have the highest qualities of educational leadership. To be nominated for this award, a faculty member must demonstrate the ability to communicate effectively with their students, to energize, challenge, and inspire their students, and to show their interest and enthusiasm both inside and outside of the classroom. An essayist, poet, and editor, Dr. Cohen has been the leading advocate for creative writing and creative nonfiction writing at Anne Arundel Community College for almost 25 years. She has done so much for our college. Students during her tenure here, including establishing the Creative Writing Center program in response to students' requests and national trends, coordinating the Writers' Reading at AACC series, serving as a faculty advisor for Commencement, our student journal, helping to establish writing awards for fiction, poetry, and environmental writing, and serving as a liaison for the League of Innovation Literary Competition and coordinating the League's Literary Journal National Competition and publication for AACC. Please join me in welcoming who our students wanted to honor this evening. Dr. Cohen.
Hello, class of 2018. I want to tell you before I start my talk, I have never spoken before a class this big in my entire life. So I'm on the first on that. Thank you. I want to welcome all the students, parents, teachers, administrators, and staff who have supported this class on their way. I think you're all amazing. I'm delighted to have been selected to speak with you tonight. As a classroom English teacher, I tend to think in stories, and anyone who knows me knows that I have a lot of stories. Each one of you has a story that shapes your lives, even when you might not realize it. In my fiction class, when we talk about how to construct a story, we often begin with creating characters, with quite a bit of attention to the protagonist. We need to imagine that character fully. Does she like vanilla ice cream? Will he lie to his best friend? Will she stand up for someone who's being bullied? Does he secretly root for the Nationals instead of the Orioles? I know you're out there. Once we can imagine a character, We have to put the story in motion with a plot and a setting. And when we create a plot, I tell the students they have to include obstacles for the protagonist, because that's what will make the protagonist grow and change. Sometimes the protagonist easily succeeds when confronting the obstacle. Sometimes the protagonist fails. And sometimes in writing a story, the writer doesn't even have control over the protagonist. If any of you are writers, you know what this is like. I want to tell you 3 stories about former AACC students. One who was a traditional student who went directly from high school to AACC. One who was a homeschooled student who was 16 when she first enrolled here. And one was a 29-year-old adult student returning to school 10 years after his first time applying to AACC. I think these students are representative of your stories, although I know you each have unique stories. Sorry. So the first story is about Jeff. Jeff was a traditional student, 18 years old, just graduated from high school when he enrolled in my English class. He was perpetually late. I'm sure none of you were ever late to class. And he was not sure he wanted to go to college or whether it was worth his time. He wasn't just 5 minutes late because he missed a bus or was caught up in traffic en route 2. He was typically 20 or 30 minutes late for every class. Yet he showed up for every class, and he was filled with questions and thrived on debate and class discussions. But he was always late. So one day I asked him to come into my office and explain his concept of time to me. 2 days later, he handed me 8 pages of handwritten prose, front and back, that riffed on and on about his philosophy of time and school and learning and so much more. It was as if he had channeled the poet Allen Ginsberg. We talked for more than an hour about time and life and music and Henry David Thoreau and free speech and the value of learning both in the classroom and out of the school. After our talk, he never showed up late to class again. And when he graduated from AACC, he continued on to the University of Baltimore for a bachelor's degree, and then went on to the University of Maryland School for Social Work, and he is now a working social worker in Baltimore. For Jeff, intellectual curiosity, empathy, and the joy of music were what guided him. My second story is about Ellie, and she's very different from Jeff. When Ellie enrolled in my English composition class, she promptly emailed me in June to ask what books were required in the fall semester. How many of you have done that? So Ellie was a homeschool student, and she was determined to succeed in college. In class, Ellie eagerly asked questions, always wanted to know more, always asked what else she could read. Ellie went on to earn a 4.0 at our college, and then earn a university transfer scholarship to the University of Maryland. But if you were a classmate of Ellie's, you wouldn't have known the full story. You would know Ellie as a smart, kind, funny student. But what you would not have known was that by the time Ellie turned 16, she was the primary caretaker of her mother, who had cancer, and she was the primary support for her siblings. This is a strong student who's caring for family and home. She's 16 years old. It was an extraordinary responsibility, which she handled with grace. Last year, Ellie sent me this note. I recently graduated from the University of Maryland College Park with my BA in English, and am now working for the University of Maryland Safe Center for Human Trafficking Survivors and their Economic Empowerment. She also shared that she was granted the Sandy Mack Award for Best Overall Work in the English Honors Program. I'm happy to report that Ellie's mom is now healthy and cancer-free. For Ellie, kindness, activism, and diligence and deep curiosity about the world are what guide her. Third story, getting close to the end. When Sam enrolled in my class, he was just shy of turning 30 years old. He was an adult learner, balancing work and family and responsibilities. How many of you are out there? Yeah. And about 3 weeks after Sam enrolled in my English class, he very quietly called me aside, and he said, "I took this class with you before." I looked right at him and did not recognize him, so I apologized. He said he didn't expect me to remember him. He was right out of high school then, and he had only attended 2 classes and never said a word before deciding he wasn't ready to attend classes at this time. Yet here he was a decade later, a completely engaged, exceptionally thoughtful student. He had spent 9 years working in part-time jobs in restaurants, eventually becoming a bartender. He remembered my class, and when he decided to go back to school, he asked if I was still teaching at the college. And I am, 24th year. When he learned that I was, he signed up for my class again. Many of our AACC students are like Sam, and I am inspired by all of your determination to find ways to simultaneously care for your family, work, and go to school. Sam eventually transferred to the University of Maryland to study psychology and neuroscience. For Sam, the sure knowledge that step by step he could move forward with his goals are what guided him. So here's a little non sequitur. I'm going to diverge. 2 weeks ago, I went to a concert by a Welsh musician named Martin Joseph, and he was testing out some new songs. And he came up with this song that had a repeat line that I loved. He said, "Here come the young with their open minds and their open hearts." I'd like to amend that line and say, here come the class of 2018 at AACC with their open minds and their open hearts. I am very proud to be standing here to address you. While I do not know what guides you individually, I do believe that a slightly different version of Martin Joseph's refrain applies to all of you. You each have a story. You each have family and friends who are part of that story, who have helped you confront obstacles, shaped your character, and helped you learn how to move forward in the world. I wish you much continued success on your journeys as you go forward, and I hope you use your open minds and your open hearts to continue to write your own stories. Congratulations, class of 2018.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen, for everything you've done for our students, all your encouragement and your support. I know our graduates and everyone here really can relate to your story, so thank you.
President Lindsay and I will now confer the certificates and degrees on members of the class of 2018. This year, 2,006 members of our graduating class are receiving a total of 1,596 degrees and 617 certificates, as some students receive both. Will the candidates for certificates please rise? President Lindsay, I present to you the candidates for the certificate and certify that each of them has met the requirements established by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the certificate.
Under the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Arundel Community College and the State of Maryland, I hereby proudly confer upon you the certificate with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, and please be seated.
Will the candidates for the Associate of Arts, Associate of Arts in Teaching, Associate of Science, Associate of Applied Science, and Associate of Science and Engineering degrees please rise? President Lindsay, I present to you the candidates for these degrees and certify that each of them has met the requirements established by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for their respective degree.
Under the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Anne Arundel Community College and the State of Maryland, I proudly confer upon you the degree of Associate of Arts, Associate of Arts in Teaching, Associate in Science, Associate of Applied Science, and Associate of Science in Engineering, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, and please be seated. And now the time has come that we've all been waiting for. Will the graduates please follow the direction of the ushers and come forward to receive your degrees and certificates, and then please return to your seat once you have received your degree or certificate.
Illumide Faboyagun, summa cum laude, valedictorian. Micah J. Moten, summa cum laude, presidential scholar. Logan Ray Barker, summa cum laude, student marshal. Kelsey Ann Bonifant, summa cum laude, student marshal. Sarah L. Crittenden, summa cum laude, student marshal. Maura L. DePascal, summa cum laude, student marshal. Rochelle Iraso, summa cum laude, student marshal. Matthew Fenimore Hayworth, summa cum laude, student marshal. Alicia Joy Lebo, summa cum laude, student marshal. Taikisha Danielle Parker, summa cum laude, student marshal. Michael Edris Santos Jr., summa cum laude, student marshal. Sky Ashley Smith, summa cum laude, student marshal. Rainia Susi, summa cum laude, student marshal. Naya M. Curtis, cum laude, student member, Board of Trustees. Jonathan Tyler O'Day, magna cum laude, Student Government Association President. Nicholas P. Sabo. Joshua William Abel Carter. Luke McCarran Adams. Micah G. Adams, magna cum laude. Ahmad Mahmoud Yarrow. Holly Nicole Drydelina. Ursula Venzen Adams, summa cum laude. Curtis Gregory Aguinaga. Olorunjuwon Ajayi, cum laude. Garrett Albertson. Casey Simone Allen. Morgan Tajay Allen. Diana V. Amancio, cum laude. Mariah A. Anderson. Noreen Joy P. Arsa. Ernest Asancha Asongmo. Monica A. Austin, cum laude. Stephanie Kayla Azorna. Hai Yung Bai, summa cum laude. Alexis N. Balbier. Kay Renee Baldwin, summa cum laude. Jana Marie Barnes, summa cum laude. Madeline T. Barnett. Melissa Marie Bauer. Jameson A. Bear. Brian James Bell. Laka Hakeem Bello. Sarah Nicole Bennett. Caitlin R. Birmingham. Nicole J. Bishop, cum laude. Shula Russell Bloodgood, cum laude. Dominique T. Bobian, cum laude. Brent Cameron Bobo, magna cum laude. Irina F. Bokar. Mike R. Bond, summa cum laude. Amy Elizabeth Bonsub. Jonathan E. Borman. Ashley N. Bopst, summa cum laude. Casey S. Boston. Ladae D. Boston. Mark Thomas Boyd. Kelly C. Boyle. Jessica L. Brander, cum laude. Sarah Marie Brooks. Ryan K. Brow, summa cum laude. Jessica Brown. Regina V. Brown. Shanique T. Brown. Sierra Renee Brown. Simone M. Brown. Mauricia Cherry Buck. Jordan M. Burrell. Corey Nelson Butler.
Christopher Caballero. Ruth Abicuchala. Jakayla Lauren Call. Brianna C. Campbell. Leah Nicole Campbell. Shakoria L. Campbell. Erica Karina Campos. Nicholas R. Carnahan, summa cum laude. Jessica Carrion Jimenez, magna cum laude. Taishay V. Cameron. Lisa Carter. Natalie A. Sergio. Brian R. Siren. Arnold Chablis. Kalista McBackup Chana, magna cum laude. Siri Mafor Chomama. Christian P. L. Turbajan. Jeffrey Donald Christ, cum laude. Robert Webster Clark, magna cum laude. Erica D. Cleveland. Jenna Coburn, cum laude. Terrence Raymond Koger, summa cum laude. Brian D. Collins, summa cum laude. Andrew R. Consuger. Ellis R. Conti. Myra Cooper. Nava Copley, summa cum laude. Ina Koulibaly, magna cum laude. Kavan K. Craig, magna cum laude. Melissa Dean Creeth, cum laude. Kalia Madison Cummins. Catherine Elizabeth Kuzumono. Yasitungu Fatima Sadi Dambita. Benella Dangle. Lisa J. Davey. Francis Drake Dawson, Jr. John A. Dayton. Samantha J. Deemer. Tia Janice Dennis. Nicholas K. Denny, cum laude. Andre M. Dent. Sherilyn Detroit. Donna M. Yabarti. James Patrick Deal. Christina Angelo D'Imperio. Aisha N. Dobbins. Miles Dobson. Chelsea L. Donaldson. Heather M. Dorr. Tori Abigail Doherty. Cassandra Lakeisha Doy. Megan Ann Dubisky. Arnisha S. Dudley. Michael S. Dooley, magna cum laude. Visanta Duran Roman, magna cum laude. Lavisha Ladon Edie Badger, magna cum laude. Harley Nicole Ely, magna cum laude. Samuel E. Easter. Faith Ebersole. Ava Victoria Eder. Desiree M. Efferson. Ashley S. Ike, summa cum laude. Alexander M. Eniro, cum laude. Jamie L. Irvia. Christos G. Espinosa, magna cum laude. Andrew J. Essex. Anthony James Essex. Marisa S. Evangelista, cum laude. Sylvia Camelia Evans, magna cum laude.
Good evening. Robert J. Fader, Jr., cum laude. Christian David Felton. Cleon C. Ferguson. Briston A. Fernandez. Alexandra Lynn Flanagan, summa cum laude. Tara Lynn Fleshman. Antonio Terrell Fogg. Scott David Forsyth. Emily Claire Frank, summa cum laude. Kaya L. Futrell. Patrick J. Gabbard. Dekama M. Gaines. Emily J. Gannon. Victor Rafael Garcia Lara. Dave Riener, Alisa Garnett. Godfrey Santonio Garrett. Christy J. Garrison, cum laude. Matthew A. Garufi. Arlene Joyce Gasper. Emmeline L. Bengu. Blair S. German, magna cum laude. Pierre German, cum laude. Sharita L. German. Danish Gimmeyer, magna cum laude. Matthew Wren Gibson. John Gerard Gilbert. Benjamin Thomas Gillen, summa cum laude. Holly Lorraine Gillian. Eddie Christopher Gillen, cum laude. John Philip Gall-Snyder, cum laude. Jessica Elizabeth Gomez. Christine C. Gordon, summa cum laude. Madison Danielle Gorman, summa cum laude. Jamalex Victoria Gute, cum laude. Amari Keyshawn Green. Makaria Green. Siobhan M. Green, cum laude. Hope Noel Green. Sydney Joe Grimo. Victor E. Guandique Leonardo. Sarah Patrice Gunning, magna cum laude. Daniela Justine Gutierrez. Antoine Maurice Hagen. Tyler M. Haley. Elizabeth Hay Hall. Zachary A. Hall. Assisting Dr. Lindsay with the presentation of Zachary's diploma is Mr. Walter Hall, AACC Board of Trustees member and the graduate's grandfather. Brandon I. Hamilton. Tia N. Hammock, cum laude. Raquel A. Hamner. Colby L. Haney, cum laude. Marina Cassandra Noel Hanlon. David T. Hannigan. Audrey Marie Harcum, summa cum laude. Isabella Danielle Harris, cum laude. Karen M. Harris. Vincent A. Harris. Devin Juanita Harton, cum laude. Samantha A. Hasselhoff, cum laude. Tonita Shalisa Hawthorne. Keonia Lacole Hebron, Walker. Seth A. W. Hager. Jenna Lynn Heisler. Justin L. Helms. Jordan J. Hendrickson Wise, summa cum laude. Nicole A. Henry. Jose N. Hernandez, summa cum laude. Samuel Andreas Hernandez. Brennan Omar Hayward, magna cum laude. Laronje L. Hicks, cum laude. Aaron Antoine Barkley Hines, magna cum laude. Jason R. Hurd, summa cum laude. Jacob Nicholas Hirschman, summa cum laude. Ann P. Horde. Ashanti B. Hobbs. Dylan Hobbs. Makina Admire Houlihan, cum laude. Kaia L. Hood. Alexandra N. Hopkins, cum laude. Tammy M. Horn. Luke James Horner. Austin Secor Hout. Cindy Joy Howell. Candy Marie Hunley. Alexandra L. Hunter. Anthony M. Hunter, Jr. Jade Alexandra Huntington. Jesse Wayne Hurley. Marcel R. Heralt. Naja Debiana Hutchinson. Tatiana Monique Hutchins.
Joseph R. Irardi, summa cum laude. Sophia Ambreen Iqbal. Fatima Irfan, summa cum laude. Melinda Iturralde Sabo, magna cum laude. Anisha Jackson. Desiree Lee Jackson. Kai D. Jackson. John J. Jankowski. Muzayan May Gerard. David Delroy Jared. I'm sorry, magna cum laude. How could I forget that? Congratulations. Candace Elizabeth Johnson. Natalie L. Johnson. Nathaniel Johnson. Rachel Ann Johnson. Rashina R. Johnson. Shauna Y. Johnson. Sylvia Johnson. Kaylin A. Jones, magna cum laude. Lindsay M. Jones. Robert G. Jones. Suzanne Jones. Trayvon Lee Jones, magna cum laude. Loretta T. Jordan. Stephen L. Josie. Mercedes L. Joave. Jessica Marie Journey, magna cum laude. Alan Francis Casimir. Christopher J. Kaufman. Heather A. Kelly, magna cum laude. Amanda N. Kenny. Jake Christopher Kenny, magna cum laude. Justin R. Kearns. Miriam Salim Khan, cum laude. Sonal Subhash Khatri. Michael J. Kick. Suri L. King. Brittany Eileen Knapp. Jonathan T. Krause. Brandon T. Kreischer. Peter T. Kiroglu, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Violet Leosa. Ashley R. Langowski, summa cum laude. Brian Scott Larison. Christy Kaylin Lathrop. Brandon A. Lehman, magna cum laude. Jasmine M. Lee. Daniel R. Lewis. Jane Pierce Lewis, summa cum laude. Sarah Jane Lewis. Z. June Lee, cum laude. Rodney Lightfoot, Jr. Lisa M. Limbers, summa cum laude. Jeremiah T. Lincoln. Ajay L. Lomax. Chad Patrick Loney. April Christine Long, cum laude. Brandy T. Longbottom. Kimberly M. Lewis. Fulan Lee. Jessica N. Loudermilk, cum laude. Antoinette N. Lovell. Brian Jason Loving. Anna L. Lloyd, magna cum laude. Tracy E. Lucas. Linda M. Lungy. Marcia Judith Lynch, magna cum laude. Sri Sura Mahidara, summa cum laude. Brandy L. Mack. Sophia L. Malone. David Ray Markward. Patrick Joseph Marnell, cum laude. Jahira Marrero. Lihui H. Martin, magna cum laude. Rachel Marie Martin. Brian E. McLean. Tanisha Yvette Martin. Matthew A. Mason. Timariel Destiny Maynard.
Stephanie T. McCallum. Seamus Liam McCarthy. Brian Christopher McCoy. Caleb C. McCoy, summa cum laude. Caitlin McLanigan. Abigail Ann Meadows. Kevin R. Madrano. Cindy L. Melendez. Joseph Edmund Mendez, cum laude. Amina M. Mengo Otubanyo. Jacoby Merchant. Margaret E. Murill. Megan Virginia Merson. Melissa Ray Messink, summa cum laude. Catherine Matakis. Bethany Lee Metzger. Brittany Victoria Miller. Nicholas Ryan Miller, magna cum laude. China G. Mitchell Muwandia, magna cum laude. George L. McMillan. Megan Mead. Genesis Michelle Moe. Areli Molina. Courtney R. Monaco. Diane Marie E. Munn, cum laude. Shondell Ann Craig Monterey. Nicole S. Morales. Jacqueline C. Mullen, magna cum laude. Marlisha J. Murray. Nicholas L. Nadeau. Christina C. Nelson. Tyler Michelle Nelson. Kalima S. Newson Duval. Dina Marie Nidifer. Samantha Marie Nimmo. Nadine Falou Naya. Edward James Oakery. Shalisa N. Omobai, cum laude. Serena L. Oram. Judah O. Osborne. Haley Marie O'Shea. Charles Henry Owens, magna cum laude. Justin R. Pasick, cum laude. Sharara T. Pack. Seul Padiar. Justina M. Paez. Mary Catherine Palestis. Dayana C. Parker. Luther A. Parks. Jay Patel, summa cum laude. Billy Joe Pollock. Sean G. Payne, magna cum laude. Zachary K. Payne, magna cum laude. Shannon Lee Pierce. Alexander B. Pena, summa cum laude. Maria Balin Pineo, magna cum laude. Aaron L. Perez. Jennifer G. Perez. Chelsea N. Paris. Chelsea R. Persigan. Kyle Anthony Pasanio, cum laude. Ashley K. Pollard. Ray T. Portlock. Michael R. Pounds. Lauren Y. Powell. Wade R. Preston. Mark F. Prokopchek. Sterling G. Prudencio, magna cum laude. Richard Stewart Quarles, summa cum laude. Keisha R. Queen. Shantae S. Queen. Oh.
Lee Bell Rabbit. Jason H. Ramey. Summa cum laude. Lori R. Rank, cum laude. Shania Lavon Randall. Samantha L. Reese. Nicholas M. Revel. Aziz John Riyad, cum laude. Glennis D. Ringgold, cum laude. Noemi Rivera. Elmore John C. Rivero. Holly M. Robinson, summa cum laude. Kim D. Robinson. Sierra E. Rogers. Becky D. Rodriguez. Jessica A. Rodriguez. Melanie Rodriguez. Susana Rodriguez Alfaro, cum laude. Torrington Rogers. Guillermo A. Roldan. Sue Hollebeck Rosso, magna cum laude. Ashley A. Rowe. Madison K. Rowell. Stephanie N. Ruano. April Lynette K. Ruiz. Patrick Nolan Ryan. Frances Angelina Salazar, magna cum laude. Kendall R. Salves, cum laude. Matthew Allison Santos, summa cum laude. Amber D. Sartwell. Cody N. Schaefer. Caleb S. Schaefer, cum laude. Autumn R. Schellenschlager. Kara E. Sherba. Robin P. Schmeier. Stephen A. Sell. Assisting Dr. Lindsay with the presentation of Stephen's diploma is Kelly Sell, professor from the School of Science and Technology and the graduate's mother. Dominique Sharps. Samantha F. Shorts, magna cum laude. Samuel J. Simonetta. Amritpal Singh. Brian M. Siskey. Adrian K. Slappy. Caitlin Alexandra Smith. James P. Smith. Michael C. Smith. Roxanne Lynn Sogodogo. Danielle Joanne Mayspar. Brandon J. Spratt. Teresa D. Stafford, magna cum laude. Courtney Tolliver Stanley, summa cum laude. Bethany Lynn Stanton. Michael Christopher Stevens. Nathaniel Lewis Stevens, cum laude. Lakeisha D. Stevenson. Melissa M. Stoffel. Tyler S. Street. Marissa B. Suckling, cum laude. Caitlin May Summers. Indra Sunarti. Juanita Cassandra Sutton, cum laude. Daniel Brian Swigert, summa cum laude. Rachel E. Sweckel, cum laude. Christopher Charles Swift, Jr. Gabrielle C. Tamboen.
Jasmine Tasker. It's not. Kimberly D. Taylor. Roberto C. Tejada. Thank you. Jacob A. Tennant. Haley Allison Thomas. Arfa Tofik. Darren A. Tolson. Trance. Ant Side Trance, summa cum laude. Trang T. Towel Tran. Brandon R. Turner. Jeanette V. Twig, summa cum laude. Lanier C. Twyman. Olivia Larson Utterback. Tyler Vaden. Deborah J. Vanderkloot, summa cum laude. Francelli Vitales. Sarah M. Vicentainer. V. Thun Thiva, cum laude. Benjamin Waga. Lindsay D. Walker. Michael R. Venick. Kayla Walston. Deanna S. Wands. Jiyoon Ward, summa cum laude. Megan R. Ward. Robert M. Watkins III, summa cum laude. Selena M. Watts. Taylor Ann Watts. Amanda Noel Welline. June Lynn Wells. Robert Carl Westbrook III. Ethan B. Wetzel. Ryan Whipple, cum laude. Marcus T. Whitman. Brittany Alexandria Wilkins. Christine Williams, magna cum laude. Olivia J. Wingo. Anthony Carl Williams. Jasmine Joan Williams, summa cum laude. Lachey Cherie Williams. Brittany Nicole Winborn. Malik Ashton Winborn. David S. Wines. Tamara Lene Rithers. Sabrina Lynn Wolf, cum laude. Eddie Sue Wong. Phoebe Seisung Wong, magna cum laude. Hannah Marie Wood, magna cum laude. Heather Marie Wood. Haley R. Wolford, summa cum laude. Elizabeth J. Wright. Esther L. Wright, magna cum laude. Stacy Valerie Roble. Nikolai Ashton Yamarner. Elsa Claire Yobor. Jessica L. Young. Karen L. Young, summa cum laude. Pamela M. Young. Charlotte P. Zemo. Victor Vincent E. Moore, magna cum laude. Adam David Zuwalik, cum laude. Sophia Madison Dinch.
You want these cards?
Yeah. Are you going to take them?
Okay, we would like to thank all of our graduates on the success as students, and we take great pleasure in welcoming you to the ranks of alumni of Anne Arundel Community College. In your time here at the college, you've dedicated your talents and energies to achieving your academic goals, and you have succeeded with great distinction. We salute your accomplishments and wish you the very best in meeting the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Now remember, graduates, I said earlier there was only going to be one other task I was going to ask you to do, but now you're going to be doing it as alumni. You may now shift your tassels to the left.
Graduates, we are so proud that you chose to begin your lifelong learning experience at Anne Arundel Community College, and we wish you every success in the next stage of your life. Members of the class of 2018, their families, and guests are invited to continue the celebration at the reception being hosted by the president and the faculty on the lower level of the Student Union. Please remain seated as the platform party leaves, followed by the graduates, and then by the faculty. Guests, we want to be sure that you connect with your graduate as quickly as possible, so please follow the directions of our ushers. Thank you, and again, congratulations to our graduates.